Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Did you hear that? If you were a Soviet counterintelligence officer in 1975, you didn't. You missed it. And in that tiny sliver of time, the CIA just received the blueprints for the latest Kremlin missile silo. Welcome back to the Midnight Hour. Today we're talking about the half-second ghost. In the world of espionage, the most dangerous thing you can do isn't stealing a secret, it's sending it. For decades, if a spy wanted to talk to Washington from Moscow, they had to sit at a radio for 30 minutes, tapping out Morse code while Soviet direction-finding vans circled the block like sharks. But then came Project MONOGRAM. This was the agency's great leap forward in signals intelligence. They figured out how to compress minutes of data into a digital burst so fast that by the time the KGB equipment registered a signal was even there, the spy was already blocks away drinking a vodka at a local bar. It was the birth of the burst transmission, and it changed the great game forever. The declassified logs of the Office of Communications reveal a technological arms race that sounded more like science fiction than history. Project MONOGRAM developed the Short Range Agent Communication System, also known as SKRAC, SKRAK, the Short Range Agent Communication System. It was a handheld device, often disguised as a pack of cigarettes or a transistor radio. An agent could type their message into the device at their leisure, then walk past a dead drop or a signal site, usually a CIA van parked near a diplomatic building, and hit a button. The message would burst to the receiver in under 1 second. A quote from Declassified Technical Surveillance Internal Review from 1978. The vulnerability of the long-term transmitter has been effectively neutralized. By utilizing time compression technology, we have forced the opposition to monitor the entire spectrum simultaneously. They are looking for a needle in a haystack that only exists for a millisecond, end quote. The agency's most famous user of this tech was Adolf Tolkachev, known as the billion-dollar spy. He used specialized CIA-provided cameras and burst transmitters to funnel thousands of pages of top-secret Soviet aviation data to the West. For years, the KGB was baffled as to how the information was leaving Moscow because their traditional radio-sniffing equipment showed a completely silent city. But wait, the story of MONOGRAM goes deeper than just handheld gadgets. Let's peel back some more layers of the declassified onion. Before the digital chirp became standard, the agency experimented with the disguised audio burst. This involved hiding compressed data within seemingly normal ambient sounds. According to declassified tech manuals, a spy could play a recording of a barking dog or a passing car near a listening post. To the KGB microphones, it was city noise. To the CIA, that 3-second bark contained a full list of Russian nuclear and naval developments. Another quote from the CIA, from an unnamed CIA tech officer in 1982. We weren't just hiding the messages, we were hiding the fact that there was a message at all. The goal was total acoustic transparency. If the enemy hears nothing, they suspect nothing. If they hear a bird chirping, they still suspect nothing. End quote. In the realm of conspiracy, some researchers point to the numbers station phenomenon, specifically the station known as the buzzer, or UVB-76, as reverse-engineered Soviet response to MONOGRAM. The theory suggests that these constant droning hums are actually carrier waves designed to flood the atmosphere, making it harder for CIA bursts to penetrate the Iron Curtain without creating a detectable ripple in the noise floor. The operational breakthrough of close quarters inductance was a game changer. MONOGRAM engineers figured out how to transmit data through the power lines of a building without actually plugging anything in. By placing a device near a wall outlet, an agent could inject a burst of data into the electrical grid, which would be intercepted by a CIA receiver located elsewhere on the same power transformer block. A quote, this is a declassified Como log from 1979. The Moscow power grid is our best friend. It is noisy, erratic, and perfectly suited for masking the high-frequency harmonics of a burst transmission. We are effectively using the enemy's own infrastructure to carry our mail, end quote. There is a persistent, unverified theory that Monogram eventually evolved into Project Silent Shout. This speculative program supposedly utilized ultra-low frequency waves to transmit data through the Earth's crust itself. If true, it would mean the agency could send a burst from a basement in Langley directly to the receiver in Siberia by vibrating the tectonic plates, bypassing the atmosphere entirely. One of the most daring operational uses of this tech involved the bridge. CIA technical officers would park a specifically outfitted car on the Bolshoi Kamennoy Bridge in Moscow. I may not be pronouncing that correctly. It's Bolshoi for sure, and then the last part is Kamennoy, which I think is Kamennoy. Bridge in Moscow. As an asset walked across the bridge, their pocket transmitter would handshake with the car's receiver in less than 200 milliseconds, fast enough that a KGB tail couldn't even see the asset break their walking stride. Within the paranormal wing of Cold War research, some speculate that Monogram was a cover for experiments in machine-assisted telepathy. The theory posits that the burst wasn't digital data but compressed neural patterns. The speculation suggests the agency was trying to burst through directly into an operative's mind, though no declassified document has ever corroborated such a wild claim. The burst tech eventually shrank so small it was hidden inside the stone. In 2006, the Russian FSB famously revealed a hollowed-out rock in Moscow Park that contained a monogram-style electronic relay. British and American intelligence used these smart rocks to receive bursts from passing agents, proving that the technology born in the 70s was still very much alive in the 21st century. A quote from an FSB spokesperson from 2006. This is not just a rock. It is a sophisticated high-speed communication node. We are dealing with the ghost that hides in the very landscape of our capital. End quote. Now let's get into the weird stuff. In the Monogram files, there's a section regarding satellite-to-ground interception that is blacked out with the intensity of a dying star. The heaviest redactions follow the deep space relay protocols. Speculation by signals experts suggests the CIA wasn't just sending signals across Moscow. They were testing burst echoes that bounced off the moon, or experimental orbital mirrors to hide the origin of the transmission. The theory is that the redactions protect a ghost satellite network that the agency may still be using for its most sensitive assets today. Further speculation surrounds biological transmissions. There are whispers that the redacted pages discuss the body-coupled antenna, a way to use the human skeleton itself to broadcast the burst signal, making the spy the antenna. The speculation is that the agency moved beyond hardware into bioelectronic spying, a secret so advanced they won't even admit the theory exists. Was Project MONOGRAM a success? Technologically, it was a landslide victory. It gave the CIA a 5-year lead on Soviet counterintelligence. A quote from Richard Helms, former director of Central Intelligence. Communications are the lifeblood of our business. Without the ability to speak securely and quickly, we are merely observers of history. Monogram allowed us to be participants. End quote. The success was so great that it actually led to a counter-invention by the Soviets, the radio fence. They began installing sensors in every major Moscow apartment block to detect the teeny electromagnetic spikes caused by the burst transmitters. The ghost was no longer invisible. It was just very, very fast. Monogram didn't just help spies. It built the foundations of the world you're living in right now. As far as operational breakthroughs go, the flash memory precursor. To store the data before the burst, the agency developed some of the earliest forms of high-speed, compact, solid-state storage. Frequency hopping. The project perfected spread spectrum technology, where a signal hops across dozens of frequencies in a single second, making it impossible to jam or intercept. The buzzer signal. It led to the creation of number stations that used burst transmissions, eerie automated radio broadcasts that still fascinate shortwave radio hobbyists today. In the silence between the ticks of the clock, a war was fought. Project MONOGRAM proved that in the world of secrets, the loudest voice is often the one you never hear. The ghost in the machine, and it's speaking in the blink of an eye. Next time on CIA Declassified, we revisit the site of the agency's most famous victory and its most embarrassing leak.
We examine Project TP Ajax. What happens when the CIA's own secret history of a coup gets leaked to the New York Times by mistake? We'll look at the Wilbur Report, the internal account of the 1953 overthrow of Mossadegh in Iran. From the paid rioters to the secret telegrams, we explore the day the agency's perfect coup became public knowledge. Join us for the leaked ledger. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.